everybody, welcome to Oregon Preparedness. This is Oleg. Today in this video I want to talk about the big one, the big earthquake that they predict that will hit west coast of United States, from California all the way up to Canada. And I've lived here for 24 years in Pacific Northwest, and I've heard it ever since I moved here. I'm sure they've been talking about it even longer. And it always comes to my mind every now and then, because you don't know, maybe it's true. You don't know when it's gonna hit, It might happen tomorrow, it might happen in the next 100 years, but it's probably gonna happen sooner than later, I think. With all the small earthquakes that are going on in California, even in Oregon, there have been recorded few earthquakes in the past few months. So who knows, anything is possible. And we need to be ready for it, for whatever is coming, including that big earthquake. And if anyone's seen movie San Andreas, if anything happens and it's gonna be as big as they showed in that movie, that's gonna suck, It'll probably be even worse, because they predict that it would be like 9 or 10 points. So I drive a lot, as I mentioned before, and across lots of bridges and rivers, and often I think about it. If that earthquake was to hit, chances are I would be not home, and chances are it'd be hard to get home because there is lots of rivers and bridges in Northwest, here. Even if you're in Portland, if you're just across the river in Vancouver, Washington, Columbia River is a big river. You can't swim across it, even in the summertime. Let alone winter, just impossible. Too cold, too big, too fast. And for an example, if you're in Seattle area, in Seattle there is a big system of ferries. The ferries are everywhere here. And I imagine if big earthquake happens in Seattle, they can move people with those ferries. There's lots of them. In Portland, for example, there's no ferries, there's nothing. But there are still 2 major rivers that runs through and around Portland, and a couple of smaller ones. Lots of bridges. And this always comes to my mind. I'm gone from home. I just come home on the weekends, pretty much. If that earthquake happens, chances are I won't be home, and I would need to get home to take care of my wife and kids. How will I get there? Even if I'm not that far away from home, how am I going to cross that river? And this item came to my mind once as I was going through Sportsman Warehouse. I love that store. It's like a Cabela's. It's a prepper's paradise. There's everything and anything you can think of. I came across inflatable boat, and some of them are decent in size, but I saw one. I forget how many feet long it was. It was really small. It only costed $69. It's for like a one-person small boat with 2 rowers, and when it's deflated in the box, the box is about maybe 2 feet by 1.5 feet tall, something like that. And of course that box, still in a regular car, it's gonna take quite a bit of space in your trunk, However, if you drive as much as I do, or if you live anywhere where is lots of rivers and bridges, and you might possibly have any earthquake, that inflatable boat, I think, is a great item to have in your car, even though it takes space. Because, you know, you have your inflatable boat, for example, you gotta have life jacket, because if you're crossing Columbia River, for example, it's a big river. It's quite scary, actually. I crossed that river in a kayak once. It scared the crap out of me, because in the middle of the river the current is quite strong. If you're just looking at it, it looks nice and peaceful, just big. Once you're in the middle of the river, it's just downright scary. So you gotta have that inflatable boat and the life jacket, especially if you would be crossing the river in the winter. The waves, if it's windy, they get quite big also. So it'd be difficult to cross, to say the least. However, not impossible if you're on that little boat. And, you know, if you have your get home bag with you, with, you know, a little bit of food and some essential supplies, but don't have a boat, how are you going to get home? You won't. I mean, if you're in Seattle, for example, at least there's a bunch of ferries running around. In Portland, nothing. So I thought this is gotta be must-have item for anyone whose commute includes crossing the bridge. Because once that earthquake hits, no one's gonna help you. You will be all to yourself to figure it out how to get there. And with all the bridges down and everything else collapsed, it's gonna be next to impossible to get home. So I just thought about it over this weekend. I'm gonna get me that boat. I'll get the smallest one because, you know, I drive this Toyota Prius. It's not that big car to begin with, and I need to have space in here for my work because I deliver medical supplies. Sometimes loads are large, sometimes small. Anyway, I do need space in here. However, it's an item that, in my opinion, is probably number one in importance, because without it you won't get home. You know, I work a lot in Seattle and I live in Portland. One of these days I'm gonna count how many rivers I cross just to get home, and how many bridges, just out of curiosity. But I'm willing to bet there is probably at least half a dozen rivers on the way home. And like I said, even if you have to cross just one river, when the big one hits, that bridge most likely is gonna be destroyed. You know, how are you gonna get home? So I just wanted to mention this, you know, for anybody who lives on the west coast of the United States. If your commute includes crossing any bridges, any rivers, you might want to consider having that item in your car, because you never know. I'm going to conclude this video on that note. So if you have any other ideas, put them in the comments below. And if you like this video, if you find it useful, please like and subscribe. I'll appreciate all the love I can get trying to grow my channel. Thank you everybody for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next upload.